Um, we're back. Sorry for the delay. There seem to be some technical issues um with our guest, and we're working on that, and then we can get started soon. I see that the ClinqGold team is listening. Could you use the request button so I can, accept it, or let me just send you a request, an invite rather, so we can begin. Hi.
Hi. Hey, thank you. Thank you for your patience.
No.
No. It's fine. I totally understand it. Fantastic. So, thank you guys for your patience. Let's crack on without wasting any more time.
Absolutely.
Welcome here. Thank you.
Okay.
Let's begin with an introduction of the team. Sure. Behind the ClinqGold project. Then we can go ahead with the overview. I'll start with myself. My name is Nick Patel. I've actually been in the gold business for over 2 decades, a little over 20 years. I started my life in the UK as a stockbroker, specifically specializing in minerals and mines, and that kind of piqued my interest in the gold sector. Around 8 years ago, I set up Bank of Bullion in Dubai. Bank of Bullion is predominantly a physical gold supplier. We're in the business of supplying not only the gold souk of Dubai, the jewelers, but we also ship to international markets such as Turkey, Hong Kong, and Singapore. A couple of years ago, we set up ClinqGold in 2021 post the pandemic. And the idea was to be able to create a stable coin that is not reliant on the dollar, but it actually functions as real money because since the start of and the dawn of time, money has always been backed by gold. And to support me, the team consists of a number of members, but I'll highlight the key players. You have Roman Semko, perhaps he is or not on this call today, but he acts as a chief technical officer. He's won many awards for his abilities and skills. He also comes from a financial background, so he understands the metrics and how things work within the gold sector, because there's a lot of different things that need to be considered in gold. We also have Slava Malchenko, who's probably on the call right now. He's the chief marketing officer. Slav has been involved with a number of very successful gaming projects. Some have ranged from $500 million and others in several billion. So he's had a very successful career as a chief marketing officer. And we also have a couple of other team members. The head of procurement is Chaitanya Shah. He's actually one of the co-founders with me of Bank of Bullion, and his sole responsibility is to procure gold for me and the Clinq team at rates better than the prevailing market rate. So that kind of gives you the key players in the team.
All right. Thank you for that. So, before I proceed, could you have your mic muted? Thank you. All right. So, yes, I was saying thank you for the intro. Now let's start with, or should I say, help us understand more about the ClinqGold project. And I feel like for that to happen, we need to have a grasp, or should I say, we need to understand the issue that solution to with this project. Could you tell us more about that?
Sure. So let's just talk first and foremost. Most stablecoins at the moment in circulation, let's run through the popular ones. You have USDT, USDC, BUSD, amongst others, but that's probably sort of rounding up the most popular. They're all backed by one thing, which is the US dollar. Now, if the US dollar in itself is flawed,
then realistically, how is that coin stable? And let me just explain in depth why I think there's a problem with the US dollar. The dollar in itself has been printed relentlessly for the last 52 years, ever since the gold standard was removed in 1971 by President Nixon. Now, some may say, okay, but it's still, the leading country in terms of GDP and in terms of import exports. But let's look at it logistically and logically. You've got a country that's been able to print money at whatever time and at any amount it can for 52 years, and they've printed more money in the last 5 years than the other 45 years put together. So what we have now, imagine we started the world in 1971 with $1 million, and today, instead of 1 million, we're sitting on 100 million. So all your money's been diluted 100 times over. So the idea is, okay, although we are priced in dollars, every single ClinqGold token, CGT, is backed 100% by physical gold, which is predominantly bringing gold back into what it was originally in money, bringing back the gold standard and making sure if for whatever reason the US dollar is no longer the reserve currency of the world, and some may argue that US is too big to fail, but we can look back in history and see around every 80, 100 years the currency of the world reserve changes. So a few hundred years ago, Dutch guilder, followed by the British pound, and now the US dollar. And you've also got BRICS nations very aggressively chasing their own gold-backed payment system. So I think it's only a matter of time. So the idea is to save yourself from any inflationary pressure, any risk of the reserve currency globally defaulting, and having your money, even though it's denominated in dollars, you've got 100% backup of something tangible and physical, which is gold.
Okay, that was pretty, easy to understand. But now, how does ClinqGold work exactly, right? And I'm asking from, should I say, a layman's perspective. As much as we have people in the crypto space and we're here to trade, invest, and all of that, we still have a lot of people who are not conversant.
Okay, so in the same way, I'll make it very simple. I'll put it in one paragraph. Today, you buy USDT. USDT is backed, as they claim, with dollars in the bank, which they then use to buy US treasuries. Okay, our system is exactly the same, except instead of backing it up with dollars, we back the exact equivalent in physical gold. That's to keep it very simple. So instead of relying on a dollar, which is pretty much a paper fiat currency, perhaps could go out of circulation soon, you've got physical gold, which has been around since a millennia.
All right. What are the Okay, could you? Thank you. So I was going to ask, so what are the main features of ClinqGold, right? And how do I make money from it as an investor?
So you wouldn't make money from CGT unless you're banking on the price of gold to go up, which certainly there's been indications its current levels are below 2,000, around $1,900, $1,910 an ounce at the moment. But over time, over the next 5 years, that's perhaps going to go maybe 2,500, 3,000 or higher. Who knows? That's something like I cannot predict. But to make money on CGT, what you would need to do is buy our share token, which is CNQ. Effectively, it's like buying shares in a business, be it Amazon, be it Apple or Tesla. You're banking on the success of CGT being one of the major gold-backed stablecoins. And right now, I only see one competitor, which is Paxos. Paxos has been around a little bit longer. They've been around 5-6 years, but I see a lot of kinks in their chain as well. Over the last 5 years, they've raised $500 million in 7 fundraisings. We turned over in 21-22, just over 300 million US, and we turned a profit. So I ask a very simple question: why do you need $500 million, and why is it still capped at $500 million? But we managed to make this business in less than maybe $2.5 million, and we've done pretty much the same amount of revenue.
All right. I think we'll come back to more of the differences between the CNG, CGT rather, and the CNQ token. I feel like we're going to need more enlightenment on how those two work and what exactly is their role in the system. But I would like to ask about the Bank of Bullion. What could you tell us about this exactly?
Sure. So Bank of Bullion is a standalone business. We are one of the top 5 suppliers of physical gold, not only in Dubai, but internationally. We actually sell around 150 kgs of physical gold every day. And if you want to put that into a metric, it's around, at today's prices, around $6.5 million. That's our daily turnover in physical gold. Now, Clinq, which is again a standalone business, procures all its gold from Bank of Bullion. And where I see investors in particular, their interest should be very simple. First and foremost, perhaps after doing all your research, as you should, and do your due diligence, you should consider whether you, first of all, are happy keeping all your reserves in US dollars, which if you do your research, you'll find there are a lot of holes in the US economy, and more certainly in the US dollar. Or would you feel more comfortable holding your assets, crypto assets, in between, purchasing altcoins or some of the bigger ones like BTC or Ethereum? Would you have your money sitting in CGT, which is 100% backed by gold, so there's no risk of default? Now, to answer the question, how would they make money? Let me explain in more detail what CNQ does. As a share token, the revenue received from Clinq will be passed on to CNQ in the form of an APY. Like I said, in the first year of operations, we turned over 300 million US in sales, and we had an average profit GP of 1.14%, which is about, give or take, $1.5 million. So there is a huge opportunity out there. You're sitting on these stable coins that are denominated in billions now. Their market capitalization is massive. If we have that level of success, the value of CNQ shares, especially as they're a revenue share model, there is also an opportunity to earn APY. So there is a massive upside potential with the share token CNQ.
Thank you. So how does Clinq Pay come into the equation? Could you tell us more about Clinq Pay?
Of course. Thanks for asking that question. It's one of the most exciting things that we're doing within the Clinq ecosystem. So I'll give you an example, right? Most companies, most coins, whatever they are, their sole and whole objective is to get onto any exchange, be it Binance, whichever exchange it is, and then drive organic volume through very heavy marketing, whether it's sort of sponsoring events or just general marketing online. Now, what we've done is created a separate system with Clinq Pay. Clinq Pay has already done a soft launch in Zambia. That's our first area to launch. What Clinq Pay is effectively, if you look at the whole diaspora of the African continent, most of Africa still work on mobile money payments. The reason for this is a large majority of the African continent, and that's 54 countries, 1.4 billion people. These guys don't have access to regular banking like perhaps a lot of people do these days in the Western side of the world. So you have around 30, maybe 40% of the population that do not have ID, do not have access to banking. So they rely on mobile money payments to make general day-to-day payments, for instance, goods and services, groceries, topping up your phone bill, paying your electricity bill or whatever it is. They use their mobile to make payments. So it's still the old-fashioned mobile money payments with a little bit of tech on the tap and pay. what we've done with ClinqPay, and we've had deep and long discussions, not only with the Zambian government, Smart Zambia, head of ICT and science in Zambia. We're also in October speaking to Zamtel, but the idea is to connect an API on the national operator, which is Zamtel and Safaricom, amongst a few others, MTN. And effectively, every single payment that goes on mobile money automatically will be backed 100% by gold, and it will be on blockchain. Now, why the governments of Africa, specifically Zambia and Kenya, who I'm already talking and working with, are very excited about this is twofold. Number one, let's take Zambia, for instance. Their national currency is known as the kwacha. The kwacha is pegged against the dollar. So also the Zambia as a country, as a government, they understand the risk with the US dollar going to default. So when we gave them the proposition that, look, how about we make all your kwacha and US dollar payments 100% gold backed? But not only that, because it's on blockchain, it's on the Binance chain. What you can do is we'll give you access to tax at source effectively. Now, the other problem you have is you have an unbanked population, sometimes 30, 40, 50% of the whole country. In the process of putting all this information on blockchain, we can start a system where we can start getting some sort of identity or getting some sort of collection of data on the phone number, the identity of the person, to help you and help them get into the banking system as well. So there is a number of layers that are exciting about ClinqPay. Now, just to put it in one sentence, the whole world relies on, or the crypto market relies on everything that's driven on the exchange to get volume. We're not relying on exchanges. We're getting direct deals with African countries. So that will drive our organic on-chain volume of CGT. And just to give you the stats of mobile money payments for the two countries we're already in the verge of cracking is Zambia and Kenya. Annually, their mobile money payments are around $70 billion.
All right. It's should I say, really enlightening. Now, what is the revenue sharing like? Now, I'm not sure if you've covered this.
Hi, Jenny. You may need to repeat that. You got cut off. In the risk of wasting anyone's time, I think she was trying to ask how does the revenue share model? So let me answer while she's reconnecting. So it's very simple. In the same way, any stock, any share, any listed company, I give the biggest examples, Google, Alphabet, Tesla, or Amazon, all these companies, the way they operate is after expenses, the proportion of money is put back into the company, and there's an agreement signed by the board of directors to pay not only an APY, but also dividends, which is what in the crypto world it's now known as APY. So that is effectively the driving force of CNQ. And just to put it out there, I'm locked in to CNQ for a minimum of 2 years as well. And that's an absolute minimum. Perhaps at a later point, depending on the situation, we might make it a 3-year lock-in. But, you know, right now, I'm interested in growing CGT organically. And ultimately, I think that'll be the payday will come when CNQ sees the benefits of the growth of CGT. And if you just consider our volume we've done till date, 300 mil, you know, it's not a startup anymore. It's way above that, and our potential. We're just waiting on a sign off from the Bank of Zambia for our e-money license, so we can start the CGT on-driven volume through mobile money payments, that potentially is another 10 billion of CGT sales per year. Do we have Jenny back? So guys, I think we've lost Jenny, but I had a list, some questions that perhaps I can continue to answer. One of the things everyone likes to understand is the transparency of the system, and what our process is to ensure that say we did we had to mint $1 billion worth of CGT. What's the assurance that the gold is sitting in the vault? So let me break that down. The procurement of the physical gold is through Bank of Bullion, one of the other companies. I founded 8 years back, but ultimately the gold is held in a vault secured by Brinks. Brinks is the oldest security company in the world. They have a history of 164 years, tens of thousands, I believe 70,000 plus staff in the world, and they operate in just under 100 countries. So their pedigree, their reputation is the best in the world in terms of security. So that's our first layer of security. We also, in the process of switching from our local government-approved auditor to a top 3 auditor. By top 3, I mean the likes of PwC, Anderson, or Deloitte. And the reason, although it's a massive cost to us to shift from a lot cheaper and a government-approved auditor to a top 3, it's just to give people that extra layer of comfort that we're not using an unknown auditor, because sometimes that makes a huge amount of difference as well. And the security layers are quite intense. So for example, if somebody requests $100,000 of CGT, those funds via the exchange come into Clinq. Clinq then makes a request for the exact amount of physical gold. That gold is then deposited into the Brinks vault. We get a receipt issued by Brinks for the deposit of the gold, and also the auditor maintains records of the whole process. And just so you know, we already have minted 100,000 tokens, which is equivalent to 100 kilos, which we did back in December. I believe you're back, Jenny.
Hi. Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
No problem.
Can anybody hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. If anybody can hear me, could you please use the comment section and let me hear know if you can hear me.
We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. I'm so sorry. I got dropped the other time, and it's something that I experience often on this app called X. So sorry about that. But thank you for going ahead, to cover the aspect of the security, because it was going to be my next question. Okay, so let me just quickly rush through my last 2 questions so I can take questions from the community. Let me ask about the tokenomics breakdown. Could you give us a breakdown of the tokenomics? I don't know if you've covered that.
You to give us more how it's going to work.
Sure. So one of the new technologies we're working on is known as introducing authorities. So in terms of the tokenomics, we're issuing CGT is only bound by the amount of gold that we put in the vault. Okay, so you cannot, in terms of the tokenomics for CGT, remember, it's just a stable coin backed by gold. But if we talk about the tokenomics for CNQ, the share token, the majority of the shares will be held in a reserve for issuing authorities like Zambia and Kenya. One of the things I noticed while I was sealing up any of the deals with the relevant government departments or mobile money issuers is they always had the issuance of trust. How do we trust that you will take, let's call it a ton of gold, you'll put it in your vault in Dubai, held by Brinks, which is completely independent, but how they needed a level of safety. So what we did is, or in the process of, is making them known as issuing authorities. So effectively, they'll be able to vault the gold in their own countries, would be the issuing party, or they'll be using our software and technology and basically our infrastructure. But ultimately, because of that, we put a large number of the CNQ tokens, 40% to be exact, aside, because effectively, once we have a number of issuing authorities, let's talk 54 countries in Africa. All of these countries, to make CGT transactions, will be using CNQ to fuel purchases and bring up their memberships as IAs through the use of CNQ. So effectively, there'll be a utility. Also, if you consider, let's give Smart Zambia as an example. We then have, on top of Smart Zambia, we have Zamtel, their national telco operator, wants to come on board as an issuing authority. They too would require permission. So everyone within the ecosystem would have to give permission. This permission would obviously also be run through the governance. So to break down the tokenomics, I think 10 or less is with staff and myself, and the rest is between the public, between marketing, and the majority is put in reserve to work as a utility and a governance.
All right, thank you. So you just mentioned, yeah, and I'm curious. So what is going to be your strategy for marketing? Because this, you said it yourself, there is only one other competition, in the market, right, as it is. So, what is going to be your strategy to market?
So it's very simple. I check Paxos's volume daily. It's like 6-7 million or 10-12 on a busy day, dollars. At the end of the day, that company is run by a software engineer without a gold background. They buy gold, or they collect revenue in USD. They buy gold in British pound from England, the most expensive center in the world. Then they vault in the most expensive center. So the economics, and perhaps that's why they've had to raise so much money, doesn't make sense. We understand the dynamics of gold. We're able to purchase gold at a better price than probably most companies and bullion traders out there. But ultimately, $7 to $10 million of volume a day, it's really, really very, very small amounts in the gold business. As I explained, we sell physical 100 kg, 150 kg every day. So our daily turnover is that much. So, and that's just supplying the gold souk in a few other countries. So once CGT has penetrated the best part of Zambia and Kenya and a few of the other African countries we're talking to, I think our volume will be way, way in excess of what they're doing.
All right. Let me ask one more question. What does the future hold for ClinqGold? I'm talking future roadmap for the next 2-3 years. Now, I know that this is long-term oriented, so I am not asking, okay, in the next year roadmap when it comes to ClinqGold. 6 months ClinqGold.
So I can give you a 3-year window of what we expect. Like, you see BRICS right now talking about creating a gold-backed currency between them to trade. In fact, we've already done that. We've issued the characters, we have the players, we have these issuing authorities, we have the know-how of gold. We've created the infrastructure. And, if you think about it, I'm working with Zambia, I'm working with Kenya, these two countries, not specifically in BRICS, but through CGT, they're able to trade, whether it's the Kenyan shilling or the kwacha, they can trade between themselves, between their currencies in a gold-backed currency. So I think we've actually solved the problem. And if you see or read some of the materials surrounding BRICS and maybe 20 other countries trying to get into BRICS, they're all having one big issue. they don't know what to do and how to create the system. Fortunately, perhaps our timing is good, or we come from the gold business, but we kind of solved that issue already. They're able to have CGT in whichever currency, and it's always 100% backed. So effectively, if you're transacting CGT within your own currency, you've actually solved the problem of BRICS creating their own currency.
All right, thank you for that. So let me quickly quick questions from these ones that have requested to speak.
Sure.
So Tokyo, go ahead, please.
Hey.
Okay. My question is, are you truly back to back? CGT, assets.
I'm struggling to hear what you said.
A lot of feedback. Yes, a lot of feedback. Could we have mic muted as Tokyo speaks? Perhaps that will help. Tokyo, please go ahead.
Okay, sorry. So are you really truly backed by gold? Because a lot, even down to BSD, have been found out that you are not truly backed totally by the assets they claim they are backed by.
Okay, so yes, we have proof of purchase, we have proof of deposits, and effectively the surefire way. See, one of the reasons I created CGT is because of the exact problem you're mentioning. I was absolutely dumbfounded when I found that we have so much difficulty trying to work out the layers behind USDT, or, Circle is a strong company, no doubt, but, that there was other players out there. Now, they're all hiding behind shell corporations, a load of offshore jurisdictions, and it's very complicated. One thing I always mentioned with Clinq, we're in Dubai. We're a bricks and mortar company. We have a physical office. We're in the gold business, and we have an audit trail of all the physical metal. Remember, being in Dubai in the gold business already, we're already regulated by SIRA, the Securities Industry Regulatory Authority, which means our offices are monitored 24/7, 365 by the Dubai police, and it's recorded everything. So all of our transactions, physical, all our online transactions, everything over 50,000 dirhams, around $12,000 is all recorded through the UAE Central Bank as well. So I'd say in terms of auditable traceability of the assets, we're 100%.
Cool.
Okay. Thank you, Tokyo. For your question. Blaze, you're up next.
Hello, good afternoon. Can you hear me, guys?
Yes.
Loud and clear.
All right. That's good. My question is about the security aspect of the system. Talking about the transaction of the blockchains, we have seen a lot of blockchains transaction got hacked in the system by scammers, and in a short while, it has been a kind of a problem which many blockchains are trying to venture and seek a solution. So my question is, talking about, do you have any KYC or an integrated system for, let's say, a place where you can get a license before you would venture into the transaction rates, so that to reduce frauds and some kind of to create a security backup? Do you get my question?
Thanks for the question. Yes. So yes, we have an insane level of security. We previously used Shufti Pro. Shufti Pro is a very respected UK-based company. We have facial verifications. But I want to cover one other thing. KYC, AML, every client of ours is automatically KYC'd and AML'd. But one of the things I wanted to cover is the risk of loss and hacking. Now, every company, imagine you had your money sitting in FTX, whether it's USDT or BTC, whatever you had in FTX, and it collapses. should you have been holding CGT tokens, let's say you were sitting on $100,000 worth of CGT when FTX went down, you would not have lost your CGT. The reason for this is very simple, and it's pure common sense. Every CGT, every digital CGT, a gram of token, is backed by physical gold. So if we know that token has been hacked, stolen, or just literally not available, like in the case of FTX, we can actually burn those tokens because we have the digital real physical twin in our vault and issue new tokens. As long as a person can prove verification, we can run through compliance, we know it's the same person, there'll be a load of checks to make sure it's going to be the same person, but we can reissue the token because we're sitting on the real asset. So hack is actually one of our strong points. In fact, that's one of our USPs. Hack resistant, I'd say.
Okay, all right. I get my. Thank you for answering my question, and thank you, Jenny, for meeting me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Uncle Umar, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you for asking my question. I would like to know what the revenue generating model of ClinqGold is. Like, how do you tend to generate revenue to keep your project going? Do you depend on investors, or you have a budget set aside for you?
Unfortunately, I didn't catch any of what you said. I caught you mentioned what is our revenue sources. Just say yes if that's correct.
Yes, revenue model. Like, how do you generate revenue?
Okay, thanks for the question. So we have actually three sources of revenue. Our first source of revenue is direct and very simple. Because we're a bullion trader, bullion is the technical name for gold, or gold trader if you want to keep it in simplicity. We don't pay the market rates for gold. Normally, our discounts run between, say, 1.5%. That's the kind of discount we get on physical metal. It doesn't sound like a lot, but if you consider the fact that we trade in volume, the numbers stack up very quickly. There is also incremental charges when you're buying or selling CGT directly, not just off an exchange, but if you're coming through us directly. In large volume, it's 0.015, and in very small transactions, it'll be a little bit higher than that. So we have a second revenue stream through small commissions earned on transactions. And the third, and probably the biggest revenue stream, is the deals that we're cutting with Zambian government. Effectively, it's opening the door. I'll give you an example. It's opening the door. There's 20 million population in Zambia, 10 million use mobile money payments. So rather than focusing on perhaps getting 20,000 clients through 10 exchanges, one of our deals, pending our Bank of Zambia license in the next couple of months, will open the door to 10 million new users. So effectively, that's now driving more purchase of physical gold. So right now we have, I think, 10, 12, 15,000 clients. Imagine we have 1 million, 5 million, 10 million. I'll be having to buy a lot more gold. That means a massive increase in our revenue stream. And again, all the charges that come with it. We'll also have a revenue share with the telco operators because they charge. And this is very interesting. In fact, mobile money payments run up to around 5% in some countries. Some are as low as 1% and 2%. Our revenue model is bringing that down to 0.5%. So now you consider, the volume of 70 billion. Even if you keep it at 0.5%, the numbers stack up. That's 3.5 bill. My apologies, 350 mil.
All right. Thank you, Uncle Umar. I hope that answers your question. I had to quickly remove you because your background was really noisy. But if you have more questions regarding this, you can join the community and make sure to ask your question. I'm sure you'll be attended to. KFC, you're up next, and then after that, I think that is where we'll end it for today. Please, KFC, go ahead.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes.
My question is, partnership always an important factor for every project. So who is your partner? What are the benefits you get from those relationships?
Do you want to just repeat that? I didn't catch the question.
Okay. Partnership is always an important factor for every project. So, who is your partner? What are the benefits you get from these relationships?
Okay, if you put yourself on mute, there was a bit of background noise. So you're asking what is the benefit of the partnerships we're doing? Say
Yes,
yes?
yes.
Yes. Okay, got it. Thank you. Thanks for the question. So, okay, effectively, let me break it down. Most people rely on exchanges to drive the volume of their stable coins or altcoins or whatever the coin it is. Now, actually, yes, we need to be listed. Yes, we want to be listed on all the major exchanges, but we're not dealing with retail clients. We are in the back end, but rather than focus on trying to open a telco operator in a country like Zambia, we've actually directly spoken to the two government departments who have wrote back to us and stipulated, once you get your Bank of Zambia license, we love your infrastructure and we're ready to work with you. So the partnerships are with governments. The reason I'm focusing on governments is if you can work with the governments, for instance, we live in Dubai, we have this system known as Smart Dubai app. You can pretty much do everything. In Zambia, they have the Smart Zambia app, and all the payments in Smart Zambia, again, pending our Bank of Zambia successful application, all payments will be made via CGT. So the idea is simple. Don't partnership with small telcos, don't partnership with smaller operators, work with the government, because effectively we're solving the problem of not only their national currency being against any inflationary pressure from the US dollar, but we're actually making their payment system quicker, more secure, cheaper, and definitely more efficient. But that's our focus for partnerships, countries and governments.
Thank you for answering that.
Thank you.
KFC, thank you for your question. Like I did, Uncle Omar, I had to remove you too because your background was really, really noisy. But like I said to Uncle Omar, I hope this answers your question. But if it doesn't and you want to ask more questions, please make sure to join the community, ClinqGold community, and ask your question. I think that will be the last question we'll take. But the rest people who I can see that are requesting, please make sure to join the community, and then any question you have will be addressed there. But yes, thank you all for participating.
Jenny, thank you very much for having me. Thanks for the questions. Thank you guys for your patience, waiting before we managed to get on. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for taking out the time to come chat with us.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All right, guys. We have another session later today. So thank you and bye.